my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys 20 eyeshadow palettes out of my collection that I think are perfect for spring. Spring is finally here. Hooray. And I live in Oregon. It's still pretty darn rainy, but it has been sunny, and I do see some flowers blooming and I hear birds chirping. Just makes me really happy because I do love the rain, but it does get a little obnoxious after a while. So I typically do videos like this every year based on the seasons, pulling out eyeshadow palettes that I think are perfect for a particular season. But for whatever reason, I kind of forgot that I do that. But I was just watching Leanna Dalton and Andi from Andi Does Stuff do a collab where they showed their top 10 eyeshadow palettes for spring. I will link both of their videos in my description box. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to do that. So yeah, I tried to stick to 10 palettes. I really did. But I just have a lot of eyeshadow palettes and I couldn't just stick to 10. So I'll be showing you 20. I'm a little extra that way. But if you guys did not yet watch Leanna and Andi's collab videos, I highly recommend doing so because they're awesome and they showed some beautiful eyeshadow palettes. So I did not rank my palettes because no, I didn't want to do that. I just want to show you how beautiful they are, how much I love them, and then also explain why I think they're perfect for spring. I don't always base my looks on seasons, but sometimes I do, and I think, you know, you're entitled to do whatever you want with your makeup. If you want to create seasonal looks all year long, go for it, and if you don't want to do that, go for it. So what I'll do is I'll start off with the eyeshadow palette I have on my eyelids today. Now, when I was watching Leanna's video, she was showing some palettes that she was referring to as smoky spring, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, that sounds amazing. So I grabbed an eyeshadow palette out of my collection that I had not used yet, and this is the Oden's Eye Sea Talk palette. And this was gifted to me from Jen Beauty. I'll link her channel in my description box. And I had big plans to use this right away. And then of course, it got set over there on my bookshelf. And then I promptly forgot to pull it out and use it. So when Leanna was talking about smoky spring, I thought, oh, I know what palette I can use for a smoky spring look. And I think this palette definitely gave that to me. I think the shimmers in here are very spring-like. They're beautiful. There's some vibrancy, but also some kind of mutedness, some beautiful shiftiness to these shimmers as well. And then the mattes definitely bring the smoky aspect of it for sure. Now the shades that I used for this look, I used this shade right here in my transition area and also on my lower lash lines. I deepened up the outer V with this shade here, this beautiful dark blue, kind of a cobalt blue matte shade, and then I also put that on my lower lash lines too. And then I only used this one shimmer right here. Now this is pretty deceiving because it looks very pink in the pan, but on my lids it shifted to this beautiful springy blue and purple with a hint of pink in it, but it's a lot more pink in the pan than on my eyelids. Really a fun shade, and it's just beautiful. It's sparkly but opaque, and oh, I loved it. So thrilled that Jen sent this to me. I'm a huge Oden's Eye fan, although I don't have a ton of Oden's Eye palettes. Love their formula. And yeah, I think this definitely says spring. It's beautiful. I also grabbed the ColourPop Berry Quad because I think these pinks are perfect for spring. You can even pull this in during the summertime. I mean, you could do a look with this in the winter too. But spring definitely is in this palette. These pinks are so vibrant and so beautiful. It's kind of what I was thinking about when I was pulling palettes out of my stuff here, is just the vibrancy that spring can bring. I also have some muted stuff I'll show you here in a minute too, because I think there's lovely muted options for spring as well. But you know, there's only 4 shades in here, however, and obviously monochromatic, but they're just lovely. This is a really nice ColourPop quad. 2 mattes, 2 shimmers. I love this. I definitely want to pull this out and use it during the spring. And then I grabbed Saints, Angels, Sinners, You're a Gift. And you know, this just definitely says spring to me because of the vibrancy in here, but also there's some like soft muted tones as well. Like, you know, this is kind of muted. This is kind of muted. This is more vibrant. The shimmers are, I would say, more vibrant, but maybe a little bit of mutedness too here. But I just love this color combo. I did do a 3 looks video using my smaller Saints, Angels, Sinners palettes, and I used all the shades in here for my look. And I felt like it was a perfect spring, Eastery type look. And this is beautiful formula wonderful quality, just a fun little palette to have. I also pulled out the Nabla Soul Blooming palette. Now, Steph gifted this to me a while ago, and this has not gotten nearly enough love in my collection, but it's such a lovely formulated palette, and I love the mattes and the shimmers in here. There is a little bit of duochrome going on in the shimmers as well, but here we have the soft muted peaches, maybe a little bit of terracottas. You do have some depth in here. This lavender shade. We have a darker satiny shimmer shade too. You know, just a beautiful color combination that I definitely think says spring, and also the packaging says spring. I got to figure out how to fix my lights so they're not quite so glary. I might need to move my camera holder over to that side. We'll see. Then I also grabbed the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. I just used this in a Throwback Thursday video. And of course, this is full of pastels and soft and beautiful, but also some vibrant shades as well. Really liked the look that I put together. I felt like it was perfect for spring. Definitely brought the vibrant springness that I was hoping for. Because, you know, when it gets rainy and gloomy here, this palette definitely brings me the spring. But yeah, this was really fun to use. Really impressed with the quality and the formula. I just need to use it more often. I also pulled out the End of the Rainbow palette from Ladybug Glow. I just got this in PR. This was done in collaboration with Ice Cream Beauty Box. And look at how beautiful all of these tones are. You know, this is a St. Patrick's Day palette, but you also have other options in here so that you don't have to just use it. I mean, you can use a palette whenever you want, but you know what I mean? There's other options in here rather than just green. And that's what's so fun about this brand, is the unique color stories that the brand owner puts together. Amazing. This is my favorite brand. The shimmers are so beautiful, and the mattes are just incredible. Pigmented, blendable, all the good stuff. And you know, I just think this color story does say spring. That's this pink here, this pink as well. Green, yellow, this is gorgeous. This is kind of a goldy green mixture. And then of course that blue, kind of pinky blue, is nice too. And there's depth, there's bright. I love it. Then we have the Saints, Angels, Sinners, and Funny Butter Makeup and Chill. And this is an all shimmer palette. And I just think it's super fun. And it's got some beautiful spring tones. Greens, the greens in here I think are very spring-like. This pink shade here, this is kind of like a green and pink flip. This blue is lovely. I've only used this palette once. I need to use this again, but really fun to have an all shimmer palette. You can use this by itself. You can pull in an all matte palette. I mean, you can use this as a companion with pretty much anything. And it's just lovely, beautiful. And again, we have the bright and the depth, and we have some smoke in here too. You could do a smoky spring look with this as well. And of course, I had to include the Hella palette from Odin's Eye in collaboration with Angelic and Nikavist, because voila. This definitely says spring, especially the greens in here. Bright, vibrant greens, but also there's some like earthy, grungy, muted greens, which I think are perfect for spring too. Pinks, hello. And then you got the depth down here. This is a lovely, flippy, multi-chrome shimmer shade. But this definitely says spring, the greens and the pinks especially. Now I have two palettes from Nomad Cosmetics. I pulled out the Cartagena Mágica palette because I feel like the oranges and pinks, these greens, definitely says spring. You know, all of these colors I feel like you're gonna see outside on a beautiful spring day, especially when the flowers really start going crazy, you know, blooming and showing off their goods. This is just a lovely palette. And I was gonna declutter this. There's been a couple times where I thought about decluttering it, but I did use it for a 2 looks video and I just fell in love with it. I mean, I've always liked it. I didn't love it. Now I love it. And I just think the color story is beautiful and perfect for spring. This pink right here, you know, definitely says spring. These two shimmers, these two shades, you know, definitely some springtime colors in here. And of course, I had to pull in the Nomad Tokyo Harajuku palette. Now, I did do a 2 looks video with this, and I liked the looks. I didn't really love the looks. Jan Van has mentioned to me that she thinks this is a perfect companion palette. I really want to do that, use this as a companion palette with something else. But between this and the Lost in Los Angeles palette from BH Cosmetics, I'm leaning towards the Lost in Los Angeles because I feel like I mean, obviously this is a pastel palette. There's not a lot of depth in here, but they're kind of chalky. They're more chalky pastels than what I would prefer. However, this row of shimmers down here, mind-blowing. I'm thinking about maybe depotting these somehow and without destroying the palette, and maybe giving these to my daughter because she was talking about how she wants some pastel shades. I just think this color story is very spring-like. It's very Easter. This looks like an Easter egg party blew up in here. But yeah, I mean, it works okay. It's just out of my Nomad palettes, it's not my fave, but I still think it's got a beautiful spring color story. I also felt like the Tiny Marvels from Sydney Grace that they did in collaboration with Mel Thompson is a lovely spring color story. We do have like earthy, and I think earthy says spring for sure, but we also have some bright and also some muted. This is definitely a smoky spring palette for sure. Definitely fits the bill for that. This has not gotten near enough love in my collection. I'm going to be doing a 3 looks video with this throughout the year of 2024, maybe a 5 look, I will see. But this is such a special palette in my collection. If you're not aware, Mel Thompson was a creator here on this platform, and she passed away a couple of years ago, and was just one of my absolute favorite people on this planet, not just on YouTube. She was just marvelous, a magnificent person. So to have this in my collection is very special. But you know, even like these mauves, like this combination right here, I think would be beautiful for spring to bring you the smoky but mutedness. This shimmer here, that, you know, everything in here really, I think, says spring. When I could point to all the shadows and say it says spring. This shade right here too, this beautiful lavender shade, I don't know that I've used that yet. That says spring to me too. Yeah, I think this is perfect for spring. At first I was kind of like, shit, is it? But after really looking at it again, I definitely think this works for spring. The Galaxia Magica palette from Ladybug Glow. Now, when I first opened this up, I was thinking, well, maybe this is more suited for summer. But I look at this and I think like this section right here definitely is springtime. I also think this quad is great for spring. So yeah, I think this is a perfect palette like in preparation for summer. You know, and since spring is right before summer, I think this would work really well to create a beautiful, vibrant spring look. And I will be doing 2 looks videos with all of my Ladybug Glow palettes coming up here real soon. And then of course I wanted some greens. And I felt like the I Heart Revolution Tasty Avocado palette has beautiful springy greens in here. Because we have the bright greens and then also like the kind of muted teal greens. There's depth and bright and light and earthy and grungy, which all of those things to me definitely are spring, you know? And I did do a Throwback Thursday with this palette. I've had this for a long time and it worked so well. So, you know, there's a lot of different springy options in here. And it's just such a fun palette, and I just love the packaging. This is a palette I don't think I will ever get rid of, ever. I also grabbed the Evolution palette by Queen Nubia Cosmetics. And this is a palette I've had for a while and I need to use more, but look at how beautiful and vibrant these tones are. Perfect for spring, perfect for summer. I think this is another one like the Galaxia Magica palette that is great in preparation for summer. But I just love how beautiful this palette is. And it's a really unique palette because the majority of the shadows are mattes, except for these 3, which are pressed glitters, and then these 2, which are more duochrome. Let me get this hair off me. Duochrome, or like more, well, this one is pretty multi-chrome. This one I would say is maybe more duochrome, but a really interesting mix of colors and also a mix of textures. And I like the fact that there's so many mattes in here. This would be perfect to do an all matte look with for spring. I also pulled out the Cara Beauty Metamorphosis palette, and this was gifted to me from my daughter's best friend. She's like another daughter to me. But this is just full of beautiful spring tones. We've got the bright, the muted, pinks, purples, blues, teals, and then, you know, we have some darker options down here if you want to bring some smoke into your look or deepen it up a little bit. You know, spring look doesn't just have to be bright, vibrant. It can have some depth to it too. And I have used this palette once. I need to use this again. This is a brand that I fell madly in love with when I first got into makeup, and I still really love the brand. I just don't use their palettes a whole lot anymore. But yeah, this I think I have a list of palettes that I want to do multiple looks with throughout 2024, and I'm pretty sure this palette's on that list. Then I pulled out the Gourmand Girls Ethereal palette because I think this is full of springy colors. And it's an all shimmer palette, just beautiful. Haven't used this in quite a while because I have that weird thing where I want it to last forever, so I don't want to use it, but I do want to use it. But I think I did, what, a 2 looks video with this palette with my Utopia palette from Beauty Bay, which I could have pulled into this video too, but I didn't. And I'm not going to stop filming and go grab it because we got to get through this. I got to go to work at some point. But I just love it. It's so fun. There's still a couple shades in here I haven't used yet, but I am just thrilled with the quality and the formulation of these shimmer shades. They're duochrome, multi-chrome, metallic, just so beautiful. And yeah, I need to use, this would be perfect to create a spring look with. I got to do that soon. I also thought the Riviera palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills is another great palette for spring because of the shimmers, well, and also the mattes. The whole palette is really springy to me. Such beautiful tones. We've got the vibrancy, we've got the muted, the bright, we've got a little bit of depth, not a ton, but a little bit of depth in here. I used this for a Throwback Thursday video and it worked beautifully, amazingly well. I had so much fun with that look. And really, I think the shadows I put together for that look were very springy. Spring, summer. Another palette, of course, you could use during the summer too. But yeah, really happy that I picked this up from Marshall's. Got it on a great deal. Then we have the BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop Cotton Candy palette. And I definitely think that, like, you know, the pinks, magentas, kind of these periwinkle, purpley blues, and then the lavenders are perfect for springtime. Abso-freaking-lutely. You guys know I love the BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop palettes. Best BH Cosmetics formula ever on this planet, ever in the solar system, in the whole entire galaxy, universe, whatever. So amazing. And I will be pulling this palette into a Throwback Thursday video too. I also felt like the Athena palette from Dido Cosmetics would be perfect for this video because of the greens in here. And then down here we have yellow, orangey, terracotta, neutrally stuff, you know? I think this definitely shows like new life. And I just think it's beautiful. I wasn't really sure what to expect with this palette. I got it from Ipsy. And I was like, I've never tried this brand. What if it's a dud? It's not a dud at all. This green satin shade is one of my favorite shadows I have in my entire collection, which I have a huge collection. So that's saying something. This does have a pressed glitter. Now, I have been talking about doing a video where I show you how I apply a pressed glitter, and I have yet to do that. So I think I know I'm gonna be pulling this into a Throwback Thursday video, and I will use that shade. Finally gonna apply a pressed glitter for you guys. But yeah, I think this is great for spring, I really do. And the last palette, we're done. This is the Michaela palette from Glamlight, Michaela 1. I gotta fix these lights. It's just so damn glary. And I think this is full of springy colors. I think where my eyes go to first in this palette is this section right here. You know, the greens, I think those definitely are springtime greens. But then we have, you know, this section, the purples are really nice, pinks, blues, and then a couple rows of beautiful neutral shades as well. So you could do the smoky spring. Yeah, absolutely. I have had a ton of fun playing with this palette. This is another palette I want to pull in for at least a 2 to 3 looks, maybe even more than that look video, because I really like the quality and the formula of this palette. I mean, I love Glamlight and I love the disco packaging. Yeah. All right, so those were the 20 palettes out of my collection that I think are perfect for spring. Let me know if you guys have any of these palettes, and if you think they're perfect for spring, let me know what other palettes that you have in your collection that you love to pull out and use during the springtime. And I do really, again, want to encourage you guys to go and watch Andi and Leanna's videos because they were so fun and they show some amazing palettes for spring. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.